Hello folks, Phil Gallagher of ThrabenU here for a rather ridiculous legacy stream. So I got a pair of donations from, I believe it was Kinda MTG, with some ridiculous brews, and this is the first of them. And I'm going to be honest, I don't know exactly where to start in terms of a deck tech, because there's just so much going on here. Um, we are a Jegantha the Wellspring deck, and its companion condition is that no card in your starting deck has more than one of the same mana symbols in its mana cost. And you can tap it to add 5 to your mana pool, one of each color, but it can't be used to pay generic mana costs. This is a deck that is going to utilize its sideboard incredibly well, and let me mute this here. Sorry about that. This is a deck that utilizes the sideboard really well. It has Living Wish and Karn and a companion all associated with it here. And that means that you can do a ton of different things in Game 1 scenarios that you normally couldn't. One of my favorites is Ask Jegantha the Wellspring. Use a Living Wish to get Bringer of the Blue Dawn, and you can just tap Jegantha to cast this, since you can pay one of each color rather than this thing's converted mana cost. But you can also do things like pull out a Rest in Peace Helm win with Karn, or find a specific Hate Bearer or something for your matchup. The main deck of this deck is kind of like a weird snow deck, in that you have Scrying Sheets, which is 1 in a snow mana. To tap this, look at the top card of your library. If it's a snow card, you can reveal it and put it into your hand. So we have Snowlands, and Scrying Sheets itself is a snowland. But we also have like Astrolabes and Icefang Coatls, and Merit Lodge's Slumber. I'm going to read that one since you might not know it. When it or another snow permanent enters the battlefield under your control, you scry 1. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you control 10 or more snow permanents, sacrifice this to create a Merit Lodge token. So this is an extremely unique deck, very unlike anything else I think I've ever played. We'll jump into some games and see how it fares. Alright, round 1. I have what is probably an acceptable hand. I'm going to keep this. I get to play an Astrolabe on 1 and then kind of figure out everything from there. Yes, we have the most green cards. Start there. On Thin Ice is like really interesting removal here. I'm starting off by seeing a Tropical Island into a Ponder. My mind thinks Delver, but we could be seeing something like Show and Tell as well. Wonder if I just Living Wish, or if I just pass with Icefang Coatl up and try to wait another turn until I have more information. I like just passing the turn. I'm more scared if my opponent is a combo deck than if they're just like Delver. Oh, maybe a snow deck that just happens to not have 2 basic lands. I don't think I know what I want to be Enlightened Tutoring for yet. JK, it's Rest in Peace. Do I want to do that this turn? Yeah, maybe I'll do that this turn. So many options. Now I'm going to cast this Living Wish, mostly for the sake of using my mana in this turn cycle more so than anything else. Raucous. Raucous means that I have a fourth land. It also means that I have another colored source. And I don't know that any of these other things is just a slam dunk. Just convert it into a land. Now I don't think I need this stop anymore. Okay, yeah, my opponent is playing some sort of control deck. In which case, our Rest in Peace is kind of cool. Can't really pressure an Oko if that's what my opponent is doing. Yeah, so the companion is still technically in your sideboard, right? Like that's the zone that it exists in, so it makes sense. I need to play and activate the Helm in the same turn. This is Death Touch currently. I think my line here is just jam the Karn and try to plus on my opponent's food. And if this baits out a Force of Will, that means that this stuff is a little more likely to resolve later. Yeah, so overall I'm happy with this exchange. Yeah, it makes sense, like the whole companion thing, white faces. It's just like not one of those things that actively would be on your mind until it happens. I think I just protect my life total here and trade for the food. Oh no. Now my opponent gets to like brainstorm and look for Force at Will, which is like what will kind of cement their victory in this game. I think I'll go ahead and play one of these to start off the turn, see if I hit a land drop. Oh, that's not a land drop, but it's pretty good. I don't think I'm supposed to on thin ice and Ice Fang Coatl. I think I slow my roll on that. Opponent has 5 cards, can hard cast Force of Will. Probably doesn't bode super well for me. It brainstormed twice. What does Karn get if Karn resolves? Evoker? Bridge? They're all such juicy Oko targets. I think I play the Karn as a bait spell. I want to play the Helm once I have 5 mana, so I can Helm activate in 1 turn. Otherwise I play Helm, pass, and then it's an Elk. Womp womp. Oh, actually, I guess I can just like be F6ing through my opponent's turns. If I reveal Jegantha, they know I don't have Force of Will or Force of Negation. I wasn't thinking about that. I was trying to be the good blue player, and in reality, I wasn't. Yeah, that's fair, kinda. Okay, so now they can just bounce this with their own Caracas to draw a card and gain some life. Good stuff. Do I make the Karn bait play again? I think I do. I think I do. Please don't resolve. I don't want you to resolve. Just get a counterspell out of their hand. Yeah! Yeah, do it. Find it. Find it. Fuck, it resolved. Didn't really expect this to happen. This is awkward now. I could just like plus on an astrolabe. Like make my opponent pay attention to this and then try to juke him with the helm kill. If only you were an elk, you could be killing Jace, but you're not an elk. You're just a sad, no artifact creature. Yeah, shoot, I'm just starting to learn that process, so I have more that I can learn still. And I'm going to be getting a new microphone this week to hopefully improve audio in the not too distant future as well. Working on a pretty big push with Brian and Bryant to step up the content creation game. Fuck. There goes my helm. So I'm going to have to minus Karn for a new helm. That's okay. That math still checks out. Oko's been activated. Yeah, I believe we also just have another helm in the sideboard too. So this is going to be a situation where if our opponent has a force, they probably win this game. And if they don't, I probably win this game. Let's get this helm. All right, let's go. Please. For YouTube? For Twitch? Let it happen. Fuck. For great justice, take off every zig. Now I think I need to use these on thin ices to buy me some time. My Jegantha isn't really going to do anything this match because of my opponent's Caracas, so that's not something that can bail me out. Also, like, my opponent has 2 planeswalkers, and life is pretty bad in that regard anyway. I'm also just taking 7 next turn. I can draw like a Living Wish this turn. That maybe gives me a chance. Again, opponent still has so many cards, and they can also just Uro for another card here if they want. Is it time for Scrying Sheets to take over? Is that what's happening? I think I need to try to Astrolabe into a card here. Well, that means I might not be dead. Guess let's activate a Scrying Sheets. We got no snow cards, but that's a Living Wish. It's interesting. Get another food out of there. And like Living Wish for Sigarda. I'll have 4 mana next turn after I cast Living Wish. Okay. This is an odd one. Like, still alive. We've traded Astrolabes. There's all sorts of oddness going on here. Support to Soledad. I'm hoping we get to cast it just by tapping Jegantha tonight. That's the dream. I've made my YouTube thumbnail already. That's what I want to happen. Alright, so the guard is cool, but I can't cast it this turn. I could just, like, revoke one of the planeswalkers. I don't know that that actually wins me, like, the game in any capacity. Go for the Sigarda. Come on, Scrying Sheets. God damn it, Scrying Sheets. Oko's pretty good, though. Actually, is it? I don't know that they needed to fire off that Abrupt Decay on Rest in Peace. Like, it seems like they just need to Abrupt Decay any blocker that I put in play and keep leveraging their planeswalkers. Hmm. I think I would have played this more conservatively than my opponent. Like, it seems like they have the win locked up. I don't know that they need to Abrupt Decay cards that I view as having almost no value. Like, they have so much mana to work with. I might not have all the information, though. Like, they might have something in their hand that makes all of this make a lot of sense. Bringing up the graveyard for Uro doesn't really make sense in the face of my own Caracas. I don't know, maybe guaranteeing the artifact for 2 turns in a row is useful for them. So I can cast Jegantha or Oko. I create 1 body out of it. I block a 3/3 unless it gets Jace bounced. Yeah. I am done. I'm done. Let me concede. Okay, so I think a weird thing about this deck is that since we have both the Living Wish board and the Karn Tutor board, I don't really think we get the luxury of sideboarding basically ever. Like there's things that I could bring in that aren't like too devastating to bring in. Like Revoker and Teferi both reasonably could just come into the deck if there's something else that I want to take out. Like On Thin Ice and Swords to Plowshares are both Yeah, maybe I'll replace On Thin Ice. Tutorable with Enlightened Tutor, which is cool. But it sort of feels like these cards, like just naturally drawing these cards is good, and taking away a little bit of my Living Wish or Karn Tutor board functionality to just be able to board out a bad card is probably okay. Alright, Jegantha. Maybe this time will be different. Yeah, we got a Sylvan Library. I will keep this hand based on the strength of that card, and then be punished by a Force of Will effect immediately. Fine and Andy, it's okay to be skeptical about this. I think a lot of us are in that same boat. I mean, we tapped the Jegantha to cast Bringer of the Blue Dawn. What is there not to understand? It's mostly that, like, since we're not playing the Force of Will effects, having that companion in the sideboard is kind of a free roll. Oh, nice, it just resolved, and our opponent can't Abrupt Decay it in this turn cycle or anything. Also, now I can use Sylvan Library with Scrying Sheets to, like, do stuff. Oh man, my opponent has a Sylvan Library too, though. Oh, let's find a blue source. Did not find a blue source. What am I doing with my mana this turn? God, the blue source is so important right now. Right. Do I just spend this turn to draw a card using Scrying Sheets? I can just pay some life and get through these. Maybe put the 1 back. Yeah, let's maybe put 1 back. Pay for this one. Yeah, Varos, that's a good point. It's not 100% free. Like, also just like playing this card means that Force of Will is in our deck, and so we're a little bit further away from something like a true Snow deck or Pokepile or something like that, where you're just playing a higher density of good cards. We still have a pretty good density of good cards, but like, we just randomly drew an Aethersworn Canonist, for example. It did get Abrupt Decay, which is weird because I have a Sylvan library. I have to decide. Actually, do you make snow mana? Yeah, you're a snow land, so you make snow mana, so I can use you to cast Astrolabe. Now I decide which one of these lovely cards I want to play. It's Teferi. Card's obnoxious. Alright, we have a lot of stuff going on. And my spells are going to be uncounterable next turn. I have a Karakas for that, I'm not overly worried about that. We already get to make our Merit Lodge this way. How many Merit Lodges do you need? Alright, so I have 1, 2, 3, I have 4 snow permanents. This would be 5. Yeah, good luck figuring out what to do over there, opponent. I certainly don't know what you should be doing. I've taken Rest in Peace out of fear of the combo. Oh, neat, there's Chromox in this deck. I think that's the card that I want this turn. I actually kind of want to put a Living Wish under that. No, I don't. I'll put an Ice Fang under that. But let's pay life and get through this. Now I have 5 total mana. Create an Oko. Let's throw down the Merit Lodge's Slumber. Now bottom this Living Wish. And I can make a food. 5 snow permanents. Halfway there. My Oko has died. My precious, precious Oko. Lost to the world. Hey, a new Oko. Let's put that back. Let's put this back. Fun game is strong from the audience today. I respect it. So let's stack that on bottom. So we draw our card. We know we want the Oko. And we'll scry after that. And we know we don't want that. Hey, we're doing things and stuff. Oh shit, no, I wanted to elk this. That's my bad there. We'll pretend there's a strategic reason for it. Like I'm protecting my life total. Certainly don't care about their life total at all. My permanents are getting kind of small on my side of the field. They are all lining up in one row instead of being nice and going into two. 100% streamer error there. Bye, Oko. Hello, Oko. Alright, you have a food. Ooh, a new Oko. Yes, that looks great. Go ahead and do the same play pattern as last turn. I play one of these. That one on bottom. Draw with Arkham's Astrolabe. Try with this. What's our count? 7. I think I should go ahead and send that to the bottom. Now, 1, 2, 3. New Oko. This one is newly controlled. Plus on an old one. Attack you. Now, do I just cash to ferry in and bounce this food? That might be correct. Like, bounce the food, then my opponent can't use it to gain life. They're facing down potentially 2 lethal threats on their turn. They won't be able to attack any of my planeswalkers. I think I like it. Yeah, we're at 7. Hey, Sultari, welcome. My opponent has also used up a large number of Abrupt Decays, which make me more confident in this line. So they need something else here. Ooh, Snapcaster Abrupt Decay is not bad. So if I Force the Plowshares, the Snapcaster Mage, they go to 4, and then I'm not representing lethal. I guess I'm not representing lethal already. Um, Let's not get caught up trying to just end this game in one turn. New Teferi. My count at 7. Let's send this at them. We go to 1. Now they can't fetch for that food. And now that they can't fetch for the food, Karn makes a lot of sense. And they also can't Force of Will. They can Force of Negation still. I suppose there's a world where I could have considered Karn pre-combat plus on my Astrolabe and attack in with both of my things, but then my opponent just fetches and eats the food instead, and I think this line ends up better for me. Alright, so that food can't be activated. Oh, new Oko. Okay. So now they're going to plus on their food, and then I'll bounce the food and attack in for 4 by animating an Astrolabe. Sounds great. Okay, you Swords to Plowshares my creature. You will live to see another day. However, I will continue to do annoying shit to your shit. Alright, now I have 3 mana available. I have this Karn. I can just attack them for 1. I don't really have great things in my sideboard to get. I could just get a I could straight up just get a Canonist as a body. I don't hate that. Also just get Astrolabe and work towards the Merit Lodge. You know, that's a good meme play, right? That'll love it. Let's scry first. We're up to 8 snow permanents. Guess I keep that. I can't cast it this turn, but I guess that's fine. And let's Living Wish for something. Oh, let's get a, like, Sigarda. That's cool as hell. Yeah, let's do that. We are so gonna time out in game 3. but I'm having fun. I suppose you would call it the Mighty Quinn, or like Jegantha Snow. You can call it whatever you want. It's cool. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This can be my 7th mana. If my opponent doesn't put another creature in play, I can just go for a Mycosynth Lattice win. I can still go for a Mycosynth Lattice win, right? Yeah, that'll still be fine. It's coming. It's coming. It's coming. It's coming. So let's Swords of Plowshares. I'll get that out of the way. Minus this. Use this. Yes. Mycosynth Lattice. Cast that. Plus Teferi. My opponent has graciously conceded. Next turn I was going to get to play an Astrolabe and then create a Merit Lodge and kill them in one attack. Alright, I am going to need to, like, win quickly this time. Interesting pile sounds about right. The Living Wish package seems pretty bad. It seems like just so slow. I have so many things that I want to be spending mana on. Yeah, it's great. Let's go. My saving grace is I can F6 through my opponent's turn, and they probably can't F6 through mine. People always fetch in response to Revoker, like I can revoke their fetch land. I will shut off the card that both of us have. Let's play nice. Oh, rats, it didn't matter. Go in turbo mode. I just need to get some threat. A Night of Autumn. No, let's pick up the Sigarda. It kills faster and is more of a pain in the ass. Now I can't F6 through this turn because Swords of Plowshares is something that I need to hold up for an opposing creature. I guess getting the Bringer is not crazy. Where's my companion? Fuck, where is it? I want to put this in my hand. So my opponent has used up about 2 minutes of clock, and I've used up about 1 minute of clock. Alright, I have a 5-5. Now, I don't think I need to go quite to remove every stop yet. But I was almost to, I'm just going to play my ship pre-combat for time. Hey, 90s MTG. Yeah, this seems like the sort of stuff that you would most certainly enjoy. Oko's quite good. Our creature is smaller. 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's Karn-based lines here. Not going to think too much about this. Should have tapped in a way to let me cast Ice Fang Coatl, but I'm dealing with clock here. Jegantha was in the sideboard. We wished for it. Yeah, in my head when I was tapping for Karn, I went, I have Astrolabe. I can just cast Ice Fang off of that. Oh yeah, it's so not intuitive in 90s MTG, especially if you're just like tuning in now. Alright, you got a counter spell over there? Got a removal spell? Alright, you got a counter spell. No attack this turn. Alright, 7 available mana, so I can wish for Worm Coil. Which is an expensive alk. I'm going to assume this is going at my Planeswalker. I can't actually see. Alright. Yes, it was going at my Planeswalker. I have now scrolled down chat appropriately. Wow, my opponent is just, like, very willing to do Oko-based shenanigans here. We got there. Let's go! Last card needs to be like Abrupt Decay. Come on. Come on! Yeah! Yeah! What a game. This game is great. This deck, who knows? But that was amazing. Alright, round two. Looks like my opening hand here is going to have to be a mulligan. I have two colorless sources and no castable cards in my hand with the mana that I currently have. So I will be shipping this as soon as I get the opportunity to. Whoop! These are magic cards. Let's throw back the Chrome Mox and assume that I don't need to turbo anything out here. What if we play against a graveyard deck? Have the rest in peace. Alright, we're playing against Merfolk. Our hand does stone cold nothing against Merfolk. Okay, we do a tiny bit now. I have an Ice Fang Coatl that will be able to block until my opponent gets Island Walk, and then the fish people eat me alive. Where the more snow deck, better is subjective. I like that. That's actually really funny. Yes, we have more snow. We have spicy snow. The Island Walk. It has arrived. Hmm. Hmm. Alright. Actually, I should have played this Caracas from my hand. I don't want to get something that's wastelandable. Oh well, it happened. I don't know, maybe this wasn't a mistake. So Ice Fang is basically going to do nothing now that my opponent's creatures have Island Walk. So I think I just want to be working towards trying to get a Helm of Obedience online. That's how I am going to potentially win this specific game. I think it's just like YOLO turn forecast Helm, hope they don't have Daze or Force of Negation or whatever. Oh shit, we're dead. Alright, anything spicy in here? Blast Pool Mimic. No Hull Breachers. There's one Merfolk Trickster. A couple of True Names. Okay. I die. Yeah, we did sorely miss Force of Will and Force of Negation in this game. Yeah, I should have played the Torpor Orb. Let's assume that boarding in the Revoker for Vile is good. And most of the rest of the stuff, except maybe the Teferi, needs to stay in the sideboard. We're not ready for this matchup. Yeah, that's fine. Living Wish doesn't look particularly great here. I don't know that I have time for those. Let's junk 2 of those and then whack the submit button. Yeah, we don't have things like Dead of Winter or Supreme Verdict or something like that that could really swing this matchup in our favor or at least make it more even. I wonder which side of the spectrum our opponent is going to come down on between, like, try to combo us off versus try to kill us with creatures. I don't know that we're actually fine versus the creatures. We have 5 removal spells, and I can't really count Ice Fang Coatls as removal spells here. Okay, I guess we have more than 5 because, like, there's the Planeswalkers and, like, technically the Detention Sphere. Kinda. It's pretty common for the Merfolk decks to, not always, but frequently board in at least one bounce spell of some nature. So I don't know that they'll actually have 0 outs to something like a Bridge or Energy Field Rest in Peace combo. That's what my gut tells me. Do. Opponent using every piece of the buffalo here when it comes to the sideboard time. Would like to play. Oh. It feels like if I like start missing land drops, I'm just going to die. I think I'm going to ship this one. I get 2 draws to find a land, and if I miss, I think I am instantly dead. If I can stick the Sylvan Library, then that's filtering, but if that gets countered, no. Let's try to find something that looks safer. Yeah, this will do. Now we have a 1-2-3 curve. Actually, it might just be put Merit Lodge back, because this can just represent another elk a little bit later. Yeah, I've changed my mind. Man, if I had a colored card in my hands that I could play the Oko this turn, that would be hot. But I don't. So let's preemptively drop this down. Don't mind hitting another land drop. That's a basic either. What's the wording on Chromux? Okay, so this doesn't get sacrificed if I don't play it. So I can consider playing the Chromux and then just immediately elking it as well. So I think the Oko is really a distraction here. The Oko is not the prize. Okay, yeah, that's fine. So current plan is Karn, get Ensnaring Bridge, I'd like a baby behind Ensnaring Bridge for a long time. Win? Question mark. All right, Karn numero uno. We'll go ahead and minus this, pick up the bridge. The Chrome Mox can be played out of my hand at any point. I love me some Vampire Nighthawks. That would be my favorite card. First card I ever bought. Thought it was overpowered as hell. So good. So many keywords. Don't hate that. Alright, you got a counterspell? Don't. I think this Chromox can just safely stay in my hand here. There's not a reason, I don't think, to play it out here. I'll play it out next turn. Still Moon Cavalier. He's a good dude. I think I've even registered that card in Legacy once or twice. It was many, many moons ago, though. So this is nice. And I think I'll go ahead and cast this. Casting this one this turn means that I can play around their combo a little bit. And I don't think I need to Chrome Mox again. I can take another hit for 2 without it being a big deal. Actually, wait, hold on. Does this work the way I want it to? I guess it doesn't if they have the Vial on 2. They fill out their entire library with Paradigm Shift, then they put it in. I guess that doesn't work the way that I want. Alright, so do I want to try to win? I have 2, 4, 5 mana. So I can't play Karn and Rest in Peace in the same turn. can, like, Karn just shut off the vial and, like, use it as a bait spell. Yeah, fuck it. Show me your answer. Okay, that should win. I guess I'll do my shenanigans in their upkeep. Hmm. Kind of brings up a good point, where if they vial in Athasas after I mill them out, I lose. Fuck. Uh, shit. Oh, this is weird. I think I'm supposed to just let it go and I'll activate the scrying sheets instead. I'm scared. Actually, if I play the Karn, they just put the Thassa's Oracle in response, right? Or no, it's the trigger that matters. It's not a static ability of the creature, so that's fine. So it's fine to, actually, it's fine to mill them here, right? Because they're not going to draw a card. Yeah, they're not going to draw a card unless they have something real unconventional. Or no, I'm thinking of Laboratory Maniac. No, I want to wait a turn. I guess I don't want to tap that one. Or no, I don't have enough mana. Whatever. Now I can go ahead and activate this. Alright, good stuff. Alright, so there's a Thassa in the deck that wasn't in there before. Looks like my opponent doesn't have Force of Negation. Okay, cool. Good beats. Yeah, I don't think I played that game perfectly. Was not thinking about Thassa's Oracle as a response to my billing. That's not something that I've ever had to think about before. I like how we've sideboarded. I don't really want to change anything. Again, the design space with this deck as far as sideboarding goes is kind of weird. Like, we don't really get to sideboard. As far as like reasonable sideboard cards for like combo matchups, we probably bring in the Deafening Silence and Aethersworn Canonists, but for a lot of the fair matchups, like what we have the second Teferi and a Revoker, and then most of the other stuff, except maybe like a Knight of Autumn, will probably end up staying for Living Wish targets. I don't I don't think we should upgrade City of Traders. Oh yeah, like it is very clear that this list is experimental. And like after the first couple of games, I think the Living Wish awkwardness is pretty clear. So a lot of the times we're not living wishing for something that's powerful enough that we win the game with it. It's kind of like I'm gonna cast this Living Wish, and I found a 4/3 Knight of Autumn. That's kind of how I feel about it right now. Like we might play against TES or Ant or something, and then we Living Wish for Aethersworn Canonist and win the game on the spot, and I'll feel way better about it then. But until that sort of thing happens, Speaking of this hand is a little questionable. Like we have an On Thin Ice as a removal spell for their first creature, but then most of the rest of my cards are just medium minus. I think I go ahead and mulligan this one. We'll be fine. Don't worry. Don't worry, chat. Have faith in me. Please don't counter my astrolabe. It will be so mean. Oh, Aethersworn Canonist is back. You're into the land. Everything's great. Weird hand from our opponent if they're not doing anything right now. Ah, shit. I should have probably played Forest there over Tundra. I don't think I want to aggro go for Energy Field this turn. I think I just want to play an Oko. Or it's fucking obnoxious. Plus, I like legitimately don't know. Oh, actually, I probably want to leave up. No, I want to play Aethersworn Canonist this turn. Because I don't want my opponent to have both Paradigm Shift and Thassa's Oracle in hand. Which seems like one of the most likely combinations of things that they could have. And I want to stop them from doing that in the same turn cycle. Yeah. The Force of Will pitching the Paradigm Shift, okay. Alright, does my opponent have the 3-card sequence now? Okay, that's a 2/2. That's fine. So my opponent will have 4 cards after they've drawn. They have to have land plus Paradigm Shift plus Thassa's Oracle. So 3 of those 4 cards need to be exact hits. Take this hit. God damn it. Alright, 3 of their 4 cards were the exact hits. I'm taking out this Thassa's Oracle on the way out, and you cannot stop me. DK Classic, thank you very much for following. And we're dead. Alright, round 3. We've kept a pretty reasonable hand here. And we are playing against an ambiguous opener. It is island, not snow-covered island, so it is less likely to be a Snoko control deck. Yeah, Sophie, there were some weird situations in that match where, I thought about comboing off, and then I was like, wait, what if they have Thassa's Oracle? Am I just gonna die? I could Chrome Mox, put the Living Wish under it and just jam a Sylvan Library on turn 1. The issue is that if my opponent is playing something like Show and Tell, the Living Wish for Karakas is actually pretty darn good, so I don't know that I want to do that. I think I'm just going to start out with the Arcum's Astrolabe on turn 1. Yo, Detention Sphere would be hot to put in off a Show and Tell. Turns so hard when I don't really know what my opponent is doing. I'm going to play the Sylvan Library, see if it walks directly into a counter spell, or if my opponent is just holding up Impulse. So predict. Are we playing against High Tide? What the F do we do against High Tide? I guess we Living Wish for Aethersworn Canonist next turn. Yeah, we're playing against High Tide. Okay, cool. So if I've identified that we're playing against High Tide, this Detention Sphere is not going to have a lot of text. And in case my opponent just does some sort of draw 7 effect, I think I want to put this Chrome Mox into play. Tuxdev, it's been a hot minute since I've seen actual factual counterspell. Alright, let's always yield. Alright, I don't want this Karn. That goes back on top. I don't know that I want this Helm either. Just fetch those away. Oh, I saw a clip from Jordan's stream where he slice and diced and just utterly obliterated an Espervile player. And I learned that I had a new fetish that night. Alright, So I will get the Aethersworn Canonist, but I can't play it this turn now. The Flusterstorm did successfully stop that. This is the turn where I expect to die, though. A lot of times, turn 4 is sort of the sweet spot where High Tide has enough mana to reasonably go off. But if they're leading on Ponder here, I'm probably okay. That was Ponder, no Shuffle. One, two, 3, 4. I will have 5 mana, 2 for Aethersworn Canonist. And then I can cast something else afterwards because Canonist is an artifact. Probably another Living Wish. But my life total doesn't matter, so I'm just gonna eat this damage. Alright, surely I get Force of Willed here. Surely. Surely? Okay, yeah, there's a Force of Will pitching a Merchant Scroll. Alright, do I have another hate thingy in the sideboard? Not really. Second Living Wish is not crazy good. I think I just take a redraw here. I think I need to leave this Snowland up in case I spike an Astrolabe. Oh yeah, Lave can filter for Lave. That's a good point. Hunting Wish is a little spooky. Can I Karn for some sweet hate card? No. Oh no, my opponent got Pact of Negation. That makes me think I'm dead. Uh-oh! Alright, there's a chance they whiff. This hand's way better than what I had. Unfortunately, I probably die. I'm just gonna F6, and if they get me, they get me. Give away the information that I don't have a counterspell. Just so I can sit back, relax, see what chat has to say about life and love and the world. Oh wow, Merchant Scroll for Brainstorm probably bodes well for me. That probably means I hit a bunch of lands. Oh yeah, our opponent has a buttload of mana. They have a decent number of cards. They're digging pretty aggressively. Alright, that's another High Tide. Now I'm probably in trouble. So Tybalt, if you haven't seen this deck before, what they're looking to do is the card High Tide lets them tap their islands for more than 1 blue mana. and then they untap them a bunch, make a whole bunch of mana, and then make us like mill our entire deck out or draw our entire deck. Oh, the deck I'm playing. Well, we're also playing a gem. Uh, so the Scrying Sheets deck used to be known as the Mighty Quinn. And back in the day, that was a white deck. This is sort of a 2020 revival of the Mighty Quinn, and we've jammed a bunch of like ridiculous planeswalkers and such into the shell, as well as a weird assortment of powerful cards. Reapel Cheap, overall, I just like don't love playing Bomberman online. Like it's really tedious to click through. So a lot of times, all right, my opponent has found the Brain Freeze. I'm just gonna go ahead and concede here rather than show them my deck. So when I see Bomberman lists, what I do mentally is I go, "That's Bomberman," and I kind of stop, just because like the experience of playing Bomberman online is pretty rough. All right, I want Deafening Silence. I want to bury. And then the question is like, do I want to board in the Canonist to draw it naturally, or do I want to be able to Living Wish and Karn for it? And I think the answer is I want to leave this in the board, even though it's going to be a very good card for the matchup. We are probably going to end up bringing in a couple of questionable cards just because On Thin Ice, Source of Plowshares are unplayable. Energy Field also is not needed. Tension Sphere also is not needed. Okay, do I have 4 more cards that I can bring in? 1, 2, 3, 4? Like, I have 7 things that can wish for that Canonist, so I think I'm supposed to leave it in the board, and my opponent doesn't win super quickly either. Yeah, I really like playing Bomberman on paper, because I can just go, I'm going to repeat this loop 70 times and send a Death Laser at your face. And the opponent goes, oh, okay, I'm dead. Another thing I could board in is I could just like board in the Sigarda, but if I want to wish for a threat, I really want to wish for this. Uh, so this hand looks reasonable, and then you realize that I don't have green mana to cast the cards that are actually good in my hand. I'm gonna mulligan this one. Go. I'm in. Keep. Throw back a land or a rip. I think a rip. Oh, that's a great draw. I'll get like an island this turn and play Karakas. Yeah, every time Moto has updated now, there have just been like game-breaking bugs to Legacy. Kappa. Hey, do you think I should turn my Aetherthorn Canonist into an elk? Asking for a friend. We're gonna have a pretty fast clock. Get a non-basic here, like the Tundra. Play the Sylvan Library, let us refuel, and play Rest in Peace, which has some minimal amount of text in this matchup. Our opponent can loop stuff from their graveyard occasionally. JK. Aethersworn Canonist. Seems like my opponent's gonna have a... Oh no, they have a Cunning Wish. So Cunning Wish can get a bounce spell for Canonist. A Surgical Extraction. That's interesting. Why are they getting that? Deal. I accept your defense grid. Funnily enough, it's an artifact spell, so they got to do two things with Aethersworn Canonist. Again, my life total doesn't matter, so I'm just going to pay life to draw through those cards. Do like this. I should have left one of the basics up in case I draw exactly an Astrolabe, I guess. Their own defense grid stopped them from Force of Willing here. That's kind of cute. Alright, so I guess I'll take my attack now before activating either of these Planeswalkers. Make my food. And bounce the defense grid. I played the Teferi, so I can't play a Rest in Peace again. But hey, I can eat a food with my mana on their turn. So I got that going for me. JK, we're going to turn it into an elk. That's always the plan. Elk everything. Do I put any stock in the data from the showcase? Some stock, yeah. Like, it's a medium-sized event. I don't remember the exact player count. But it's not a tiny event. I still like leaving a Canonist in the board to wish for, so I think I'm going to keep everything the same. We don't actually care about the defense grids that my opponent is boarding in, because, like, what are we going to cast? $214 people. Yeah, then that is a larger event than I thought it was, and yes, I would put stock in that data. Blue-Red Delver often performs really well, better than people expect that it would, because, like, it's just a consistent deck. I'm going to keep this. I can go turn 1 Enlightened Tutor for turn 2 Canonist. Like, when you're playing Blue-Red Delver, you lose a few fewer games to random things like mana-based stuff. Canonist or Deafening Silence? Yeah, maybe Deafening Silence, actually. Because next turn I can Deafening Silence and Astrolabe, if I do them in the opposite order. I'm just going to tutor for this now, because my opponent showed me Flusterstorms. Yeah, man, I spent some time doing some serious upgrades to the stream. So card quality should be crisper than it has been any time before. My webcam should look a little bit better. Got a mic on order that gets here tomorrow. Fuck me! God damn the punish. Honestly, I'm not even mad. I am not even mad. I think my highest percentile play here is to jam the Sylvan Library and use that to look for another hate card aggressively over the next 2 turns. Yeah, like I figured out in my mind what I wanted to play around, but I played around something that was probably a 2 or a 3 of instead of something that was a 4 of. So that's on me. Yeah. So Min, Brian Bryant and I sat down for like an hour and a half last night and just kind of had a meeting where we talked shop and tried to troubleshoot some of the various problems on our stream and YouTube videos and stuff. Chef's kiss. Chef's kiss. Take them. And some of the things that you're seeing today are a result of all that. Astrolabe. I think I go ahead and start with an Astrolabe. And if I draw something that I want to put under Chrome Box, that's great. This represents a second Canonist later, as soon as next turn, so that's actually really cool. Do I just Chrome Box Oko? That's super weird. But I don't really see Oko being in the game plan, and I kind of want to get rid of this Chrome Box. No, kind of. I mean, do I Chrome Box and put the Oko under it? I'm 100% playing Aethersworn Canonist this turn. But, like, I want a Living Wish for another Canonist next turn. And more, like, this is going to be my last opportunity to cast Chrome Box profitably. Yeah. I have another win condition in my, like, big whatever creature type Jegantha is friend. So I don't know that I need to rely on Oko as a win condition. Alright, a turnabout was milled there. Bye, there's one Canonist. You'll be back next turn. Bye-bye. Bye. I need to dodge death this turn, though. My opponent has 6 cards. They'll presumably make their 4th land drop, leaving them with 6 cards in hand. Alright, now we just let Sylvan Library do cool Sylvan Library stuff. I don't know that these cards are good enough that I actually want to pay life for them. Let's put back Land and Marilage's Slumber. I'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, we're pretty darn far away from this. I will use this ability. Get in here, Aethersworn Canonist! I choose you! So many predicts. Right, Polluted Delta, converted into 2 cards for them. So next turn, unless I draw something cool off a library, is just going to be like Scrying Sheets and put Jegantha into my hand. Elemental Elk. Maybe we are making a Merit Lodge. Fuck it, let's go. Forgot about my Aethersworn Canonist and just like jamming that immediately. I should have given this a tiny bit more thought. But I think my mana works out perfectly. I just have 3 left over to do this, and it looks like I planned it all out. What a mastermind. We even have a Death Toucher in case our opponent had something random like a Hull Breacher. Alright, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This will be 9, 10. I just get to make it 20-20. That's cool as hell. Yeah, there's all sorts of other alternative systems that can be used for events. Miscount? Oh shit, we're at 9. That's okay. I am sort of afraid that my Aethersworn Canonist is going to get bounced and I'm going to die. A Time Spiral dissolves. Yo, my hand is so much better now. I'll also see if I can get a freebie off this Scrying Sheets. So, actually, no, I won't do that because I want to... No, I don't have to play around Flusterstorm. I can tap this, see if it's something I want. Not something I want, so I'll cast Enlighten Tutor. Enlighten Tutor will find a deafening silence. Put back these lands. You don't get like haste or anything random, do you? No, you don't. Okay, so this is non-artifact. So I can cast some artifact stuff now. Okay, it's at beginning of upkeep. Go ahead and cast this. I'll go ahead and do my scry. You can go to the bottom. A helm. 1, 2, 3, 4 for helm. 1, 2 for rest in peace. 1 for activate. That's really interesting. Yeah. Wish I had left more white up. Or if this rest in peace gets countered. I guess that wouldn't matter. Alright, let's try to kill our opponent. Oh, that's unexpected. Okay. So I will float a mana in response to that. A whole bunch of stuff comes back to my hand. Rest in peace hits play. Now, I can redeploy Chrome Mox. I'll put a Teferi under there. And I guess Deafening Silence is probably harder to answer than Aether's Sworn Canonist, so I will go with that as my next spell to cast. Ooh. Alright, Force of Will pitching a High Tide. Is this a snow mana? It is not a snow mana. Okay, that'll be turn. My opponent has a handful of cards. Can they kill me? I was one bottom, one top with the first preordain there. Uh-oh. There's an attempt being made. An attempt on my life. Okay, we got there. So we were making a 20/20 on our turn, and then we were going to Helm combo our opponent, and if that didn't work, we were going to put an Aethersworn Canonist into play for good measure. Alright, round 4. I will be keeping our opening hand. Our opponent is on the play. If Rip Energy Field is good against our opponent, our hand is gas. Rip Energy Field isn't good against our opponent. We'll see what happens. What? Oh, we're going to be playing against Green-White Reclaimer, in all likelihood. And that's there to just have a different name for, like, Field of the Dead reasons. Collector Oof is rude. I think I get Forest here. Definitely a little strange. But if this Tundra gets wastelanded, the thing that I care about the most is probably the Sylvan Library. I don't think the green-white Reclaimer deck is jank. Like, I think a lot of those, like, Reclaimer, Primeval Titan type shells are underexplored. Like, it's something that I would like to try out on the channel, and I just haven't had the chance to yet. Okay, alright, Nathan, that's fair. I just Attention Spear the Collector Oof? I don't know that I super care about the Collector Oof. I think I want a Sylvan Library this turn. I would like to continue to hit land drops. I would like to play the Energy Field on a turn where my opponent like taps out, so that I don't have to worry about crop rotation for... no, I guess crop rotation for Wasteland isn't something that I care about right now, since the Rest in Peace is already in play. Non-land, right? Non-land. Skyclave Apparition. That's something that can disrupt Rip Energy Field. So I want to save Detention Sphere for that. Hello, Bentley. Welcome. I'm probably taking that land drop, unless another land looks much more attractive. Ooh. These things are gas. Putting this back. Yeah, I think Karn is a distraction here. I think I'm gonna put this Swords of Plowshares on top. So I don't want to get Helm of Obedience, because I don't want my opponent to remove Rest in Peace. I want them to remove my Sylvan Library. So to incentivize them to do that, I am going to take Ensnaring Bridge here. So the goal is that my opponent Skyclaves this Sylvan Library. Then I assemble like Rip Energy Field. I have Swords to Plowshares as kind of a backup for some of the stuff that's going on. And if my opponent attacks with this Dryad Arbor, which they need to do to kill Karn, they have exactly 3 mana, and it's pretty unlikely that they'll have a better 3 mana play than Sylvan Library with Skyclave. Oh, baby. Take the library. Yes! Okay, so what else do I want to do this turn? I can play New Library, or I can just Swords of Plowshares the Dryad Arbor and stick them on mana a little bit. I think I like that play better. A little less mana efficient, but probably more annoying. Alright, if there's one Skyclave apparition in here, there's probably 2 or 3, so I expect my opponent to still have some number of outs to this. My opponent can still attack a Karn. Am I setting up for Karn Lattice? I'm probably setting up for Karn Lattice as the way that I win this game. So let's just drop an ensnaring bridge here. Oh yeah, I guess Helm is reasonable. I think doing the Karn minus is probably better once I have one more mana. I don't know. Like kinda I was going to settle in for a slightly longer game rather than like aggro go for the Helm. But I guess aggro go for the Helm is just great. Like in my mind, I was setting up to protect the Karn, knowing that I kind of have inevitability. But I guess just ending the game is fine. Like give my opponent fewer chances to draw towards their limited outs to the situation. Alright, so I'm just looking to draw any land for lethal. Not draw a land. I don't think I want to leave the Helm sitting in play. So let's play some other cards this turn. Just make that land drop and then kill our opponent once I have another land. Oh, another Rest in Peace is so good. So good. And then, in case there's something I'm not thinking about that matters, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this Elvish Reclaimer. Yeah, so now my opponent can't get, like, the 2-for-1 of destroying my Rest in Peace and then, like, wastelanding me and the energy field goes as well. Oh shit, I do need to kill Collector Oof. Yeah, whatever. I've got a Detention Sphere. Slightly worse to use Detention Sphere on that. This is just a classic example of what I do while I'm streaming. So mentally, while I'm streaming, I like group things into categories of does this thing matter or does this thing not matter? And if the thing doesn't matter, I like dedicate much less mental energy to it. So back when my plan was I'm Mycosynth Lattice winning, I had determined that that card was not relevant or important. And then that changed very much once I tutored up the Helm. That can be dealt with later. Okay, as far as sideboarding goes, again, against the fair decks, I don't know that we actually have a lot. And I think most of our main deck cards are reasonable. I don't really want the Aethersworn Canonist, so I'm going to board that out. And then a lot of the rest of the stuff I like. I might trim on some Living Wishes or something. I mean, Teferi might be meh, but it's probably the card that's coming in, right? Like, just bouncing a creature, drawing a card, and eating up 2+ damage is fine. Like, other things that I would board in would be like filler cards like Knight of Autumn, Caracas. I think I want to be able to Living Wish for the Sigarda. Do I want to Living Wish for the Containment Priest, or do I want to board that in? I think I would rather naturally draw that. Like, I don't know that 4 mana for Living Wish plus Containment Priest is good, whereas 2 mana for Containment Priest is fine. Let's run it like that. I choose this companion, my elemental elk friend. I will be keeping this hand. We can assemble a Rest in Peace energy field lock pretty quickly if I want to turbo it out. Weird hand now. I could go for the lock as soon as turn 2. I just Chromebox Detention Sphere this turn, play Rest in Peace. Next turn, upkeep, tap like a Plains for Enlightened Tutor, play land, play Energy Field. That just becomes very awkward if my opponent goes land, Skyclave Apparition. I don't know that I want to go down a card for Chromebox here. The Detention Sphere is pretty good. I think I'm just going to Plains pass. Alright, so I'll continue to play basics. I will get an island with this, and then just cast a Rest in Peace. Alright. Card's quite good. Opponent can get extra tempo on a land drop if they have another. I might just Attention Sphere that. That card's pretty good. A Karn. Karn can get bridge and stall things out. I already have Rip Energy Field to theoretically stall things out. I think let's just remove this card. And then pass the turn. Kind of want to do some fishing to see if my opponent has a Skyclave Apparition. Because if I just go for something like the Rip Energy Field or Rip Helm immediately, and my opponent has a Skyclave, then I lose out on so much because like this card and this card are both reliant on this Rest in Peace. Oh no. Actually, this is fine, right? I just have Caracas. I just get Helm here? I just get Helm and try to win next turn and Living Wish this turn. Yeah. It'll be bad against Green Sun or Collector, but good against a lot of other lines. I'll play Caracas this turn. I don't need to play the Chrome Mox. Oh shit, this Caracas is gonna get wastelanded by Night. Maybe this was not the optimal line. I could put Jegantha to hand instead. What am I wishing for? Yeah, I just feel like wishing for Night of Autumn or a new Caracas. Oh, I could wish for a new Caracas, and then if I get wastelanded, I still have to kill next turn. Oh man, I'm so smart. Ragnarok, yeah. That, Oh no, now that I played the Living Wish, I don't have something to put under Chrome Mox. Oh. I take back my I'm so smart comment. I still think I take the Caracas, though. That's super weird. I don't know if I should have done that now. Like, the Caracas forces them to wasteland me, or I am representing all 5 of the mana for the kill. And any colored card off the top does great things unless they Skyclave or Collect Roof. Or, I guess, like a Rex Sage or something like that, a Night of Autumn. Yeah, okay, so that Night of Autumn can blow up Rest in Peace. But now I can be looking at like Karn and Snaring Bridge instead. Let's remove this stop. Okay. I can Karn and then have 2 mana. If I'm willing to use something as a Lotus Petal, I could put a Canonist in play. That doesn't seem great. I wonder if I just like Karn, get Wormcoil Engine. Is that better than get Bridge? I have Wormcoil Engine next turn unless they wasteland me. And if they do, I'm one land off a bit. Bridge is a little awkward. Like, I can go down to, like, one card in hand eventually, but I don't know how quickly I can do that. Turn's weird. I'm treating this Karn as a distraction. I assume that it gains me free life and then cantripped for a very powerful card. This is fine. I got the second Caracas, knowing the first one was not necessarily long for this world. Oh. Mana, huh? Mm-hmm. I can Swords to Plowshares that. And my Karn isn't dying this turn. I can also Ensnaring Bridge. They're gonna get Field of the Dead, though. No, I'm not gonna be able to fish out Ensnaring Bridge because Karn is gonna get attacked for 2 and go to 1. Oh, they just attacked me, not Karn. Okay, that's cool. So now there's 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 incoming damage next turn. It could be 11, 12. How many cards can I get out of my hand? I can get out a lot of these cards. I can get out 1, 2, 3, 4. Go down to 2 cards in hand. And not be dead. Alright, 3. So I guess what do I source to Plowshares? I'm going to get out 1, 2, 3 cards from my hand, so anything with 2 or less can attack. I actually might want to just blow up the Knight of Autumn here. There is a world where I just take out this Knight of the Reliquary, though, because getting wastelanded a bunch sucks. And it's also like more creatures for Field of the Dead, yada 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 yada. No, I probably need to protect my life total in the short term. So let's take out the 1 power creature. So I am going to need to draw like a land next turn, I think. And I need to like get one bonus card out of my hand. I don't know. So like land, I don't remember if I have another Chrome Mox in the list. I don't remember how many of those there were. There are also worlds where my opponent just forgets to wasteland me. Like they've left this Caracas in play knowing that I have a second. So maybe mentally they've taken a shortcut of I'm not wastelanding. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They also just do have exactly 7 lands with that. Okay, they have remembered. I'll go to 3 here, and I can plus on the ensnaring bridge, but that doesn't necessarily do a lot. This worm coil getting stuck in my hand is a very real problem. There were so many different ways to navigate this game. So, library means that I am like very much not safe. That's just selection for a Skyclave apparition, which will ruin the delicate house of cards that I am building. Land. Land. That's fine. Card goes to my graveyard. In any way, I do lose this. But this buys some time. There are worlds where if I just, like, put the Wormcoil engine into play, some of my opponent's attacks may no longer be made lethal. Oh, I hope you don't have a Ghost Quarter. I lose to that instantly. Oh, Valakut. I guess anything that would remove this detention sphere could just kill me, so that's not terrifying. Yeah, so in case you're not overly familiar with Energy Field, it prevents all damage that would be dealt to you by sources you don't control. When a card is put to your graveyard from anywhere, sacrifice Energy Field. So, like, we're okay from a Valakut right now, but, like, there's so many things that just get to kill me. Yeah, if they had Ghost Quarter, I would have died. So, like, they had to see that line. But it seems like a relatively straightforward line. Uh-oh. So now Valakut is live, but Energy Field is going to prevent this damage. So Collector Oof makes it way harder for me to empty my hand. I guess, like, if I have Energy Field in play, things are okay. So I guess I need to Chrome Mox Wormcoil Engine and go down to 1 cards in hand so I don't die immediately if Energy Field leaves play. That's really weird. Oh, right, it's non-artifact, non-land. I can exile Karn to it, I can't exile Wormcoil Engine to it. Whoops. Alright. What do you got, opponent? I don't know that this is pick worthy. Like, this is just like me sitting in a pillow fort, hoping my opponent doesn't have anything. Hello, Skull Clamp, and welcome. Shoot your own stuff. You won't. Skull Clamp, you walked in on sort of a weird game. I am clinging to life desperately, and my opponent has a horde just waiting. Hey Rob, thanks for throwing your support again this month. By the way, what did you think of that draft deck? Because you liked it and then you didn't comment on it. I know you saw it. I am very torn about whether that deck was acceptable. Yeah, that's how life goes. Oh no! I've died. Yeah, Rob, that's kind of my impression. All right, since I brought it up, let me just pull up the picture real quick, just as a brief distraction. It's this. So just like 30-second story time. I drafted this deck earlier today, and I took like a pick one card that didn't make the deck, a pick two Voltaic Brawler, a pick three Outland Boar, and was just kind of like, well, I guess this is what we were doing. And I got like nothing pack one. I like picked up a removal spell and two Higher Spire infusions. And then in pack two, I got three Aether Chasers and two Thriving Rhinos, so it worked out. And then in pack three, I kind of got nothing again. So it was a weird deck, and I don't know how I feel about it because I ended up with a lot of filler. Like, I don't love the Druid. Spireside Infiltrators are so I was unsure whether or not I had pulled together something acceptable. This is probably fine. I don't know how I'm supposed to play this deck, like how aggressively I should be using these Enlightened Tutors. I think I'm going to pick up a Helm super early this time and try to just kill my opponent. The thing about the draft deck is, like, my commons are really good, and there's nothing that makes the deck pop outside of the commons. Kind of feels like I'm playing this weird, like, almost like Delver style deck where I'm going for tempo. I'm trying to stick a good 2 or 3 drop and ride it to a lot of damage. Which can work, I'm just like not excited about it. So Rob, the whole reason I posted the question is because I was actually 4-0 at the time that I posted that, and I was like, is this deck way better than I think it is? Yeah, I really like the Kaladesh remastered. Like I've been doing maybe 3 or 4 drafts a week on average. I say on average because I did like 10 one weekend. Yeah, so my opponent can just wasteland me and then redeploy Thalia. That's pretty reasonable. But so is Rip Energy Field. What I don't like about this is, yeah, that can stay, is that I'm going to have 2 different things that are relying on Rest in Peace. So if my opponent just like Skyclaves Rest in Peace, like, fuck. Yeah, Thalia does not feel like she used to. Eh. So now I can't play a spell this turn because of the Thalia attacks. Yeah, Skull Clamp. I think that made for enjoyable content, I hope. Uh, that when the deck did its thing, that like Rock deck was cool. But when it didn't do its thing and it had to mulligan, like holy crap, that deck mulliganed so poorly. Oh fuck, that's so good. Yeah, I'm trying to do a little bit more direct to YouTube content, and I'm trying to make my stream VODs a little more digestible. So I've been editing out the space in between rounds. Yep. Well, now I have nothing. No green. No green rough here. Once I get green, Ice Fang Coatl can ambush Collector Oof, and then like life's good. Okay, your Carbon of Flowers pays for itself. That's something. Do I actually have enough violence that makes sense? I don't think I do, but they probably couldn't have known that. Oh geez, Sylvan Library is very good. I can't cast that because of Thalia attacks. Yeah, Rob, I agree. The word on the street is that these Reclaimer decks are pretty good against blue decks. The Field of the Dead as endgame inevitability is just so strong. I think if I miss on land drops again, I'm just dead. I have Field of the Dead to be worried about in the not too distant future. Elvish Reclaimer to fuel. Field of the Dead also a little spooky. Dead in 2 turns. Fairy adjusts that clock and draws me deeper. As long as my opponent redeploys the Collector Oof, I don't think I have a lot of outs. Well, that's one of them. I can take 5, Enlighten Tutor for the Do I have a second energy field? Fuck, I only have one. Okay, I think I am willing to throw in the towel here. GG, opponent. GG. Alright, final round. Our opponent has mulliganed. My hand is pretty weak here. I don't have any, like, playable cantrip that can dig me towards more stuff. I'm only going to have one color. I think I need to throw this back. This hand is much better. I don't think I need the Chrome Mox with this hand. I think that's what I'm going to be throwing back on the mulligan. Okay, so we're probably playing against like a Death Shadow Delver deck. I just love seeing mana stability. Like, especially after a mulligan. Opponent going for an aggressive brainstorm to try to put us under pressure. I don't blame them. Skull Clamp, not that exact build. I have played a couple of decks of that nature. Okay, my opponent doesn't have another land. I know they have a Force of Will. So is there anything I can play that's good enough that they would Force of Will it? Stolen Library might be good enough that they would just Force of Will it. Like, the goal is to resolve Icefang Coatl and trade that with Delver. Like, that's the plan. Okay, it just resolved. Was not good enough. That's okay, like a Sylvan Library in play is also just great. We don't get to draw with it probably ever, but just using it for card filtering so that I can say find a Swords to Plowshares and also Icefang Coatl in the same turn cycle is big game. There's the confirmation that our opponent is on Death Shadow Delver. Oh, and they've just reanimated it. Should have played the Rest in Peace. Okay, yeah, this is exactly what I'm looking for. While my opponent is tapped out, I should probably play the Swords to Plowshares. And this can be blocked by anything. So I guess it could be blocked by Elks later. Let's take out the flyer. No, Delver is going to be one of the best decks forever, I think. That's just the way Legacy is going to be. I would not expect that to change without incredibly warping changes to Legacy. Yeah, like if we ban like a Daze or Force or Delver or something, sure, we can maybe talk about like Delver not being the first or second best deck in the format at any given time. But until that happens, like, deck's real good. I am fetching here mostly just to get the top of the library cleared. This probably eats a Force of Will. Like, I know my opponent has it. Wow, it doesn't. Okay. That's very interesting. So does that mean they have... Why did they get rid of that? Do they have, like, Gurmag Angler in hand? Their creatures are in exile from my removal. And now I just resolved one. On their turn, I'm going to have to decide whether or not I want to fetch away these bad cards on top of my library. I think I want to. Oh shit, I forgot to put my companion in my hand. I 100% should have done that. Yeah, I should have just main phase fetched and put Jegantha into my hand. Okay. So I don't want Aethersworn Canonist. And I'd maybe like to trim a Living Wish. I mean, I'm not used to having to pay 3 for these. Usually I just cast them when I want to cast them. Yeah, I think I'll, like, begrudgingly bring in this Teferi to just bounce a threat and save 3-ish life, and then bring in another land. I could bring in the Knight of Autumn just as something that can trade or chomp block or something. No, I see nothing that suggests to me that they're ghosting. Like, I think their play pattern was weird, but there must have been a reason for it. So my hand's pretty good. I have 2 lands. I have a redraw towards land 3. I have Sylvan Library, which my opponent didn't get rid of last time, and that made me very happy. You play around that wasteland. Oh, Bitter Blossom. Damn, that's good. Okay, I can bounce that with Teferi. That's something. I'm just jamming a library, though. Am I always getting green with this? I think I'm always getting green with this. Let's just do it now. Their enchantment is a little better than my enchantment. On Thin Ice is a snow permanent for Merit Lodge's Slumber. My hand's kind of whatever right now. I actually don't super mind being thought seized. Yeah, pros and cons of enchantments. Mine draws cards. Drawing cards is good, right? I've heard. Oh, there's just like a rip for Rip Helm. That's really cool. Don't think I will on Thin Ice a single Fairy Rogue. The harder question will be, do I just jam Helm next turn? Try to resolve it. I have Daze, Force of Will, Force of Negation to be thinking about. My issue is that I don't really have anything else that's like fantastic to do with my mana. My opponent digging deep here. So if I just jam and it gets countered, that kind of sucks. But hopefully I can like Living Wish my way out of it or something like that. But if it doesn't get countered here, I just win the game next turn with almost 100% certainty. My opponent draws like a Thoughtseize, very specifically Thoughtseize, not like an Inquisition. It's very punishing. If I get a 2-for-1 here, that's eh. I'm just gonna jam. Like I get to play around one extra card, I get to play around Daze, and all the other things still get me later. So I play around another Thoughtseize by doing this, and I don't play around Daze by doing this. Alright, and we get there. Good stuff. Alright, so brief debrief. This deck was better than I was expecting, but it kind of feels pulled in a bunch of different directions. Like, there's the Living Wish board, there's the Karn board, there's just like the Oko good stuff portion of the deck, there's the Rip Energy Field portion of the deck, there's the Snow portion of the deck. I never got to cast the Bringer, which I'm sad about. YouTube folks, I originally was planning on like a nice Bringer thumbnail for you, but I guess I have to redo that tomorrow at some point. I think we maybe got one card off of Scrying Sheets the entire league. So that's probably pretty telling about how powerful that card is. And that's including in a very long game where like both players almost went to time. Um, so ultimately I kind of felt like I was playing a slightly more awkward version of Snow. Like there were cool things here. Like the access to the Rip Energy Field in game one was like legitimately good, and we got some Helm kills, and Karn was good. But like as far as like the Chrome Mox, Scrying Sheet, Merit Lodge, Slumber, Living Wish side, that portion overall, like, kinda kinda got the thumbs down. I liked how much gas I had in a lot of the games. Like with this stuff and Ice Fangs and libraries, like, and I guess we'll count the Living Wishes too. Like it pretty much always felt like I had stuff to do. So I wasn't running out of gas, and I guess if I'm running out of gas, not running out of gas, then this becomes slightly less necessary. So overall, this was fun. Uh, it feels like the sort of deck like you could take to an FNM and have a really good time with it. But I would not be comfortable playing this in like some big tournament that mattered. I think that's kind of how I about it. YouTube folks, if you've made it this far, please consider liking the video, subscribing to the channel, commenting. That sort of stuff helps more people to find my videos. I would really appreciate that sort of thing. Have a great rest of the day.